Hi. Hi,
Hi.
Dafna. Welcome to
Hi.
our first LinkedIn Live, talking about the B2B buzz for Bluesky and Threads. Um, I'm Zoe from ZoecialMedia. I'm the CEO. We're a boutique social media agency working with B2B brands, mainly tech brands, on how to optimize organic social media for growth, visibility, and credibility. And we're joined today by Dafna Rose, who's one of our senior account managers. And Dafna gracefully, what was the word I wanted to use there? Graciously took my desire to be able to do a study on Threads and Bluesky and look at some of the key industries that we work with. So we looked at cloud security or cloud and cybersecurity, SaaS and AI companies, and what they're doing, if they're even on Bluesky or Threads at all, or what they're doing on there, what they're posting, how active they are, how many followers they have. And we put together into this very short presentation kind of a study of what those companies are doing. So Dafna, do you want to
Yeah,
just give a quick intro and tell us what you were looking for when you were in those two platforms, and then we can share your screen, or if you just want to go straight into sharing your screen and we can look at some of the data that we put together in this summary.
sure. I'll start with a little introduction. I was looking into what's going on in those platforms in general, so user base, posting, things like that. And then on an industry level basis, I was looking at which players are posting, major players and some smaller players, if they're posting, what they're posting, do they have an audience, things like that. So that's what I was looking into. And then obviously gaining insights from that on how you can show up on those platforms.
Great. So do you want to let me add your slides to the stage, and you can run us through some of the research and what you found. It's really interesting.
Okay, okay, so here I broke down just some general information about the two platforms. This is information from November, so a little bit we're not there yet. Their user base, how many posts have been created since it came online, and just some key insights about the platform. So we see that Bluesky is attracting a younger audience that is seeking decentralized situation, and on Threads you have a globally diverse audience, a lot of different people from many different countries.
It is. Hold on one second. Let's go back, because it's absolutely insane that on Bluesky there have been 645 million posts, and on Threads 34 billion. But the Threads was launched with, it was an open platform when it was launched. Pretty much anyone who had an Instagram account could convert it to a Threads account, whereas Bluesky for the first year and a bit was invite only, so they only had like 1 million users there, and only in the last few months has really kind of blown up. So it also mimics the way that X or Twitter used to work, where people tweet or post multiple times an hour, whereas Threads, it's more like a one a day kind of thing. So it is interesting to see that is the trend there, and just to watch that line of activity on Bluesky to see what's going to happen in the coming few weeks and months. Right, let's move on.
All right. So, sorry. Oh, my bad. Okay, so we start with the. Oh.
Ignore me. It's me. It's not you.
The cloud industry. So that's the first industry that I'm going to do a breakdown for. I have here mostly they're the major players in the industry. We've got Bluesky. They're not really showing up on Bluesky. Even the few that have accounts are not active on the accounts. So we're not really seeing a lot of action in the cloud industry on Bluesky. On Threads, we have a few more accounts, but they are mostly reposts. What we're seeing there is people who are showing up on Threads are posting what they have on Instagram, what they have on X, just repurposing it for Threads.
That's really interesting. I would have expected to see many more from the cloud industry active on Bluesky. So it will be interesting to look through the data and also what people are actively posting on both Threads and Bluesky for both of those, which is in the full report. We have a question. I'm just going to pop it up on the screen. Maybe we can answer Zoha's question: who owns Bluesky and Threads? Threads is owned by Meta, which is the same platform that owns Instagram, which is why I said that if you've got an Instagram account, you can automatically easily get a Threads account. I don't know if they've opened it up to people off of Instagram yet. There was talk of that. And Bluesky was started by some of the founders and people who were senior managers at X after it was bought by Elon Musk. They were either fired or left, and then they set up a platform that was meant to mimic and be the new X. And it tends to be very much patronized and used by people who were either upset or angry at the demise of X and Twitter, and especially since the recent politics in the US. Okay, shall we move on to the next industry? I think we've got next cybersecurity, if I'm not mistaken. Let's have a look. Okay, so what's the story in the cybersecurity industry?
So Bluesky, as you see, has fewer accounts than Threads based on the research that I've done. There are a few smaller accounts that have been showing up on Bluesky, not major players in the field, but even so, not really so much, not really posting, not really active. And as for Threads, they're there, they've got their handles, but maybe they were active in the beginning when Threads was originally launched, but they're not very active at the moment.
That's interesting. I wonder if this is an indication of just kind of grabbing your handle and making sure you have it and still watching to see what the trends are and what's happening on the platforms, which is something we talk about a little bit later. Let's have a look into the AI industry, because this is the hot industry right now. I mean, it's hot. Everybody is talking AI. So what's happening?
So on Bluesky, there's a lot of conversation around AI, obviously from a personal perspective, but the companies are really not there. They're not showing up on Bluesky. They don't have accounts on Bluesky, which I find interesting also because Bluesky, you can either have the @Bluesky handle or you can use your own server. And I feel like a lot of these AI industries can utilize their own server and get a really unique handle, and yet I'm not really seeing them there. And then on Threads, slightly more people there, but again, not active.
I'm going to pop up a question that Gedalia just asked, which is, does it look like Bluesky will trend towards serving a certain niche of users? In the beginning, absolutely, because it was invite only, and the people that were jumping on the trend of getting into the platform and then inviting their friends were all marketing people. So it tends to sway very much more towards marketing trends and marketing insights and marketing people. And I don't think that now that they've opened it up to more people, it has a more diverse niche and group of users. Although with the launch of Mastodon, I don't know if people here know what Mastodon is, but it tends to be the more technical people. And they're, like Dafna said, they have their own servers on Mastodon. So it does tend to, they're a lot more developers and IT people, and some of the CTOs are finding a space. And then there's also Discord. So I think there's just so many different platforms where they have nicheized I made that word up. They have nicheized the user base, and I don't think Bluesky has yet managed to find its own voice of people or companies that it can now say this is where they all hang out. But in the beginning, it was very much open to the marketing, groupies, if you like. Okay, let's have a look at the next industry, which is the SaaS industry. It's not that different from what I can see.
We're seeing a lot of the same things of really there, but not so much showing up. And if they are showing up, you're seeing a lot of repurposed content from X and Instagram and different platforms. Salesforce, if you see, has an asterisk because they have regional accounts on Threads also. So there's multiple accounts for Salesforce on Threads. Something that I did notice in the SaaS industry that is a little bit more unique than the other industries is a lot of the employees are showing up on a personal level with Salesforce in their bio, Notion in their bio, all of these things. So the people are there and they're joining these conversations, but it's very like person to person conversation happening on Bluesky and Threads.
That's really interesting because I think on other platforms, particularly on LinkedIn and also on X, there is a trend towards people over companies. So it's interesting to see that SaaS has already taken off on Bluesky and Threads. That's something we're definitely going to want to watch. And when we do a follow up to this session, in a few months' time to see if their trends have changed, this is a good benchmark for us to look at. Somebody popped up another question from Zohar. Is it video focused like TikTok or text focused? Dafna, in your research and on the full report, you actually have examples of what different companies are posting and also the sizes of the follower base. But what were you seeing in terms of trends of the type of content?
I would definitely say that it's not TikTok focused. It's not video focused like it is on TikTok. It's definitely more text focused. Although there are graphics, especially I think more on Threads where people are repurposing their Instagram content. You're seeing a lot of their like images and carousels being posted along with text, but it is a very text focused platform.
Okay, another really good question this time from Eliza. Should thought leaders start thinking about joining these platforms instead of corporations? I think it's still too early to tell. Thought leaders are busy. They don't even have time to do thought leadership properly on the platforms that matter, like LinkedIn. And it's still a battle to educate and to get C-level executives active enough on those platforms that, opening up a can of worms of should you be on Bluesky or Threads, I think is, where the platforms, I think one of the things that you don't see here that Dafna has put into the full report is the follower base and the follower numbers. And although we're saying that, Notion and Couchbase are active on SaaS platforms, and actually if you look at the cybersecurity, CrowdStrike and beyond, or if you look at cloud, you've got Microsoft Azure and active here, but their follower base is really, really, really little. And I don't even think we've yet dug in deep enough to what people are doing and what their follower base is. I just think it's a bit too early on these platforms. And Dafna, you'll nod your head if you agree with me, for people to, to really embrace it in the early stages of 2025. But as we move into 2025 and we redo this and use this as a benchmark, maybe our opinion change. And I think that naturally takes us into, some of the insights that we have, and summarizing, if you wouldn't mind, Dafna, what we kind of see as the best practice for what you should be thinking of for the coming year.
So I'll start with Bluesky. Most people, like I said, are not on there. And if they are, they have just secured their handle. So what I would suggest is on Bluesky, secure your handle, observe, keep an eye out, but don't invest too heavily in your Bluesky strategy. Something that actually Zoe suggested is similar to what people have been doing on X when they move over to Bluesky, is putting up a banner saying, find me on LinkedIn, find me on X, find me wherever you are showing up. And then people who are searching for you on that platform can then go and see where you are active. On Threads, people are showing up slightly more, but it's mostly, if not completely, repurposed content from other platforms where they're heavily investing. So X and Instagram or something like that. So my suggestion there would be to, again, not invest too heavily, repurpose your content. If you want to show up, again, secure your handle, start showing up even in terms of social listening or whatever you want to do on that platform. And if you want to be posting to be active, just repurpose your content from other platforms. Something that I did notice as a trend in terms of tone on Threads is that there's a lot of light, playful conversation happening, similar to what you were seeing on X from companies where they're trying to be more relatable. So that is a lot of the tone that I've been finding on Threads.
I'm going to pop up a really interesting question from Josh. In terms of gut predictions, are either of these future of social or just another Clubhouse style flash in the pan? I don't think, and this is my personal opinion, I don't think Threads is going anywhere. Or Bluesky at this point. Everybody is sort of looking what will be the alternative winner for X. Having said that, there's also the spanner in the works of if TikTok does get shut down in the US, people are looking where else they can diversify. And I've already seen many influencers on TikTok saying, hey, if you follow me here, start following me on Instagram. And they're starting to try to build their audience. So this is kind of an opportunity. And I think that if you're one of these people playing catch up on Instagram or on TikTok or any other platform to the people that have already got much bigger following than you, and you invest your time and your energy in Bluesky or Threads, you could be one of the leaders here. So maybe it is an unforeseen trend or platform that will take off if things go south for TikTok, or if things continue to deteriorate on X. X is still a very valid platform and still has crazy levels of engagement and visibility. So it's still an unknown in my opinion. I don't know if Dafna, in your scrolling around, you feel differently, but I would say if you don't have the budget and the time to invest in every single platform, and this is something that we face as an agency all the time when we're meeting with clients, we are advising them, you cannot be everywhere at once, and you have to pick your low-lying fruit, and you have to be active on the most valuable platforms to you. So going back to what Eliza said before about thought leadership, if you're not building your thought leadership on LinkedIn, certainly you want to do that way before you even consider Bluesky or Threads or any other platform for that matter. If you're a content creator or in marketing and whatever, maybe you will see more value in investing a little bit in Bluesky if you know that your audience is there. It always comes back to knowing your audience and knowing where your audience is most active. And to be honest, if we're showing that in cloud, SaaS, cybersecurity, and AI, they're just not there yet, then why would you invest your time and money now in this platform? It doesn't seem to make sense. But being there, owning the channel and watching it, and keep following us, because we're going to keep our finger on this pulse in the coming 6 months, definitely makes sense. And thank you so much, Dafna, for your hard work. I mean, it was hours and hours of work putting this much effort into what you did put together. And we will be able to follow up with anyone that watched or anyone that registered interest with the full report, so that you can actually see examples of the content and dive a little bit deeper into the data. So thank you very much. Do you have any last minute things you want to add? I think I've been through most of the big questions, and anyone who asked any other questions, we can address them afterwards, on the comments. But Dafna, do you want to give a quick wrap up?
Yeah, well, thank you everyone for chiming in. And all of your questions were great. I enjoyed doing the research. I gained a lot of insight into the platforms, and I look forward to coming back to you in a couple of months, as we keep saying, with an updated assessment.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We wanted to keep it to 20 minutes, and look at that, it's 11:20. So thank you, everyone, and look forward to repeating this in a few months' time and seeing if the trends have changed or if it's the same.